She's back!
Hi.
We got Lindsey back on the channel, and you know what? Honestly, I couldn't think of a better video to bring you back for because Frozen just turned 10 years old. We got a cat. Yeah, you're making a cameo, aren't you?
This is my roommate's cat.
I might leave this in. Well, Frozen has turned 10 years old. Lindsey, what are your fondest memories growing up watching this thing?
I think I watched it at least 7 times.
Just in the theater by itself?
No.
Wow.
Just on DVD.
Wow.
And then Disney Plus for like a long time. And then I also went to go see Frozen the musical with my mom and my cousin because she knew how much I liked it. But she also took us to the Frozen sing-along before that. And I remember saying, who would want to go to a Frozen sing-along when you can just sing the songs in your room, not realizing it was the movie with the singing.
Yeah, but even then, like, the songs were being played all over the radio and a bunch of people were like, oh, this is kind of overplayed. I was one of those people who was all in on Frozen. I really dug this movie. I still dig this movie 10 years after the fact. And it's a classic based off the Hans Christian Andersen book, The Snow Queen. Mm-hmm. And honestly, this turned into Disney's most successful movie since The Lion King, 1994. And then fast forward about 20 years after the fact, they have Frozen. They're plastering it all over their publicity. And it's well warranted because Frozen is extremely popular still to this very day. Disneyland is starting to sprout up all these Frozen attractions. Like there's a ride in Epcot now.
They just added one in Hong Kong, I think. They added a World of Frozen.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So clearly Frozen is everywhere still. It's still one of the most influential Disney movies ever made. It turned 10 years old this month. Let's talk about it. As if you didn't know the story by this point, when their kingdom becomes trapped in perpetual winter, fearless social butterfly Anna, played by Kristen, joins forces with a mountaineer named Kristoff and his reindeer sidekick to find Anna's sister. That, of course, being the Snow Queen Elsa, voiced by Idina Menzel, fresh off of her Wicked success. And although their epic journey leads them to encounters with mystical trolls, a comedic snowman voiced by Josh Gad, harsh conditions, and magic at every turn, Anna and Kristoff bravely push onward in a race to save their kingdom from winter's cold grip, and also to reunite Anna with her sister, who has shut her out consistently throughout their upbringing. So on this rewatch, here's the thing, guys. Lindsey is probably one of the biggest Frozen fans I know. So rewatching this movie tonight with her, she would just stand up and start reciting all the songs to me, and she would do all the choreography to Let It Go. It's like, at this point, why even bother watching the movie? I could just have this one perform it for me.
It's an experience, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would even quote a lot of it. I would jump up from the couch and face him, and I would just tell you I would do both parts of the dialogue too. Like when Hans first meets Anna, I would do both of the dialogue, and it was just really fun to do because I grew up watching this movie so many times, and so I kind of just know it, but it was also my comfort movie for a long time, and so I would just watch it when I was bored or when I was sick, so I've seen it so many times.
This is a movie, I haven't really rewatched it as much as some of the other Disney movies I've talked about on this channel, like Your Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, but I've seen it quite a bit. And I tend to rewatch it around this time of year, November, December, because this animation style and the whole atmosphere that they give off in this movie, the whole winter aspect, I don't care how perilous they portray it, I want to get lost in this winter also. It is absolutely stunning what they do.
Lost in the woods. That's Frozen. That's Frozen 2. We're not talking about that movie.
We're not talking about Frozen 2 right now. But honestly, just looking at the filmmaking and everything that surrounds this movie, what did you think of it? Upon first glance. And
I was confused why I would be here to critique the movie because I have no critique.
She's just here to shower praise onto Frozen. Do you want to talk about the songs then?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about all the songs? Because this is the stuff that they would just shove down your throats. Like radio stations locally, they would play it everywhere, especially after Frozen was released. Frozen was still in theaters, I think, 3 months after its initial release, so they would put out a sing-along version. Like, everybody was just going nuts over this music, and these lyricists, they won Oscars for this movie, and man, are they reaping those benefits right now.
Yeah, and Let It Go is obviously one of the most popular songs from the movie and from the album, but it is also one of the most overplayed that even I couldn't listen to it for a good couple of years. It had just been played at like every birthday party, just listening on my own to the music, and when I had my iPod and I was downloading stuff for the plane, it was always Frozen. But I still love all the songs to this day. I actually have Let It Go in some of my like playlists that I listen to because it's still iconic to this day. No matter how overplayed it was, you kind of learn to enjoy it as you get older. At least I did, because you kind of you can relate to it in different ways instead of it just being like a freedom song.
Yeah, no, it's like the ultimate freedom song, just letting it all out. And let me tell you this also. Beautifully animated, first of all. Nobody else could have sang that song other than Idina Menzel, though. Absolutely nobody else. Give the woman credit where it's due. There is a reason why she was cast in this role. I feel like Wicked honestly played a big part in why they cast her back then, but man, does she hit a home run. Idina Menzel is phenomenal in this movie. Kristen Bell also. Those two together, like, you can just tell that the sisterhood is so strong between them. Like, even just, like, in the studio, just how they deliver their lines together. It's just, I love it. I love it so much.
It's amazing. I started liking Kristen Bell specifically from Frozen as well, and now I still like her in a lot of her other stuff. Specifically Good Place is one of my other favorites. But anyways, it's really fun to see them together, and they have a really solid cast for the main five characters, 4 voices, because Sven is also Kristoff. It's the same voice.
Yeah, Jonathan Groff right there. But answer me this. Is Anna your favorite Disney character of all time?
I don't know, because I can't pick.
But putting her on the spot here. It's between that and Jack Skellington, for sure.
No.
It's between those two.
No.
Really?
Jack Skellington is not considered a Disney character in my mind because he was originally not Disney.
It's a Disney movie. Nightmare Before Christmas is 100% a Disney movie.
It is now.
Yeah. Well, you're driving me crazy here. But okay. Anna, yes, for sure, because you identify so much with her.
The quirkiness, the silliness, the awkwardness. I always struggled as a kid when people were like, who's your favorite princess? Or who are you most like? I would always say Belle, only because I had curls like her as a kid. So I would be like, Belle. But I still love Belle. But Anna, when Frozen came out, for sure, I was like, that is me on screen. And the color of the hair is a little bit lighter than mine, but it was still similar to what I had as a kid. And so it was really fun to see that on screen. And the blue and green eyes, which I have blue eyes, but it's still like, it's just perfect because it goes between blue and green. People don't know she has blue or green eyes, but she does have blue eyes. But in some of the toys, they were green. Anyways, that's another tangent we don't need to go into.
You know, like, honestly, the whole differentiation between both sisters is just like, they are polar opposites. Elsa is very much a recluse in nature, and she's trying to contain her powers because of that whole flashback sequence at the beginning where she hits Anna accidentally with one of her snowball effect things, one of her powers, I guess, when she's just trying to, she's just trying to entertain her sister and play with her,
To be fair, this whole movie is in fact Anna's fault because she wasn't listening to Elsa when Elsa said, hey, slow down, but she couldn't hear her. And then Elsa tried to save her, but then it was blamed on her. And now I think that's also adding to the story as to why she is so isolated, because they took the memories away from Anna. So now she feels like she has to isolate herself, which makes the anxiety worse because Elsa is the epitome of anxiety.
Yes, and Anna is the epitome of, I described her as a social butterfly not too long ago because that's exactly what she is, because Elsa has been shutting her out. The gates have been shut, the coronation goes on, or the corneration, as she calls it, of course, but that whole...
Corneration? It's Coronation Day!
I'm telling you, she could recite the whole movie for you right now.
Probably.
But yeah, just I think it's also just brilliant how they present Anna as a character, especially in that first act, because she is willing to open herself up to anybody at all, and she's willing to offer her hand in marriage to anybody at all because she has been sheltered her entire life. Enter Prince Hans, our villain. I'm sorry, spoiler alert, the movie's 10 years old. Hans is the villain. Yeah.
That moment made me so mad when you really, like, you can kind of get an idea as to feel about who he is. Some people were able to tell, like, oh, I knew that he was a villain all along. That's usually when you get the older audience watching it, like middle school or above. Elementary school audience, I've noticed, even with just kids I've been talking to, they were like, I was so shocked to see it. Like, oh, we hate Hans. I didn't know he'd be bad. That moment, even whenever I watched it, I was so caught off guard. I almost probably screamed in the theater at him.
Yeah.
It hits me every time.
Hans is a jerk, man. He's a jerk. Like, why? Of all people that she could have possibly picked, Hans, of course, you know.
First person she literally bumped into.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, it's very funny, and I love that they made this princess character at the center of this Disney movie funny also. Because usually these princesses like Belle and Ariel, they're not written to be funny. Anna's hilarious. I laugh at her so much every time I rewatch this. But it also just kind of shows you, it's kind of genius how they present her, because it kind of shows you the dangers of opening your heart to just anybody, opening your heart to a stranger. Social media was just starting to become the popular thing at the start of the 20-teens. And it's kind of a cautionary tale in a lot of ways, because people use social media for very wrong reasons still to this very day. And Disney is kind of acknowledging its faults, and Disney is kind of acknowledging the cliches of their past, you know, marrying way too freaking early before you really know the person. Like, you just met them.
You got engaged that day.
Yeah.
A man you just met that day. Yes, pay attention.
Exactly. Like 5 minutes into their conversation, and she's like, yeah, can I say something crazy? Will you marry me?
Can I say something even crazier? Yes!
What? I mean, it's funny, but it's also kind of uncomfortable if you think about where Hans, or what Hans turns into by the end. And it's just, again, it's a really, even though Disney kind of falls back on the cliched villain reveal of the 20-teens, and that's kind of one of my little nitpicks that I have with this movie, is kind of like, you don't really get behind the villain and his plan except for this one big exposition dump that he has. Oh, I was the youngest of 13 brothers, so I was never next in line.
I kind of like it, though.
Yeah.
Because a lot of movies either have too much explanation on the villain, and then it feels like it is the villain. Like, for example, Sleeping Beauty is solely focused on Maleficent as well as Sleeping Beauty, so it's almost like 50-50, like, from my perspective at least. This part, you get to see mostly the sisters bond. You get to see Anna, like, go through literally life for the first time at that point, pretty much, because she'd always been shut out in the gates. So she's learning about strangers. Mostly, she's learning about how to talk with people and how to interact, which I also think where the social awkwardness comes from, because she's never had to interact with anybody, pretty much. And then there's also the point of just her meeting with Elsa, and then them having their bond again, but then Elsa's fear and everything, and then the trolls, just having everything all come together. I like that storyline, because Hans is not, and he's not forgotten either. It's not like he comes in the beginning and then at the end with his plot. It's he comes and goes throughout it, because he's mentioned as well, but they're also not knowing he's a villain helps with the storyline flow more, instead of like, oh right, I forgot about Hans, ugh, what about whatever. It continues to be like, oh, here's a guy I just met, and then we're getting engaged, and then it's like she's engaged to someone else, and then she tries to go find him, and just it works in a good flow, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, and I'm really glad, and this is why this is why I'm so glad I brought you on, not just because you love Frozen, but I am going to respectfully disagree a little bit, just because I feel like, hold on, hear me out. But I feel like the reason why, like, villains like Maleficent and why Gaston and why Scar are a lot more iconic is because you know that they're the villain right away, and you kind of know their motivations from the get-go. When you don't know who the villain is until, like, close to the very end of the movie, then you're like, okay, why do you need a villain reveal here?
To be fair, they had to change it halfway through the showing. Not the showing, through the making of this film. Elsa was supposed to be the villain. They even made her a villain song. But they decided not to do that because I think they showed it
that wouldn't have worked.
No, yeah, it worked, just not for what they wanted. No. I think they showed it to a practice audience like they do a lot, and you get the feedback and, like, fill it out and stuff. A lot of the people either said it didn't flow, they didn't understand, or they were scared of Elsa to the point where, like, they didn't know how they would feel about that. I don't know the details. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I just know what I've read and seen and stuff, and so it took a long process for them to figure out, to the point where they had to, like, redo a lot of things, and so Hans was either added or was changed and became the
antagonist
villain,
or the villain. Yeah. No, and I get what you're saying, and I get why people like it, because honestly, that whole heroic arc of both sisters is so captivating, and it's really great. But I just feel like, as a fan of a really good villain and a really compelling villain, like, this movie didn't really give that to me. We talked about Kristoff a little bit. God, that's a fun character.
I
he
love
is
him.
Such a fun character.
He was my favorite Disney prince. I put that in quotes because he's not a prince.
No.
They never got married in the first movie, so...
No, he's not a prince at all. He is not a prince, and
But he's my favorite male character because I wanted, like... That, to me, growing up, was, like, the boyfriend I wanted. It's like, I want a Kristoff, but it could have just been because I felt like Anna, and that's who went together. But a lot of the times, the princes are very princely. And they're just, not that they're stupid, but a lot of the times they're just like, I have a duty, but I also want love. Let's go look for love. I'm here to save you. Kristoff was just like, woman in woods offered food and money.
Yeah. Jonathan Groff voices him too. Like, everybody loves Jonathan Groff, like, he is like he's a dork in real life, as I'm sure a lot of people are well aware by this point. Kristoff is very much a dork, and I just think that is a perfect choice for that character. Yeah, but let's talk about Olaf real quick. Let's talk about Josh Gad and the perfect voice casting there. Like, Olaf is really the point where you can make or break Frozen for a lot of people, and how annoying they think Olaf is.
Or how amazing and adorable Olaf is.
Oh, look at that. I've been impaled. And this is something that we were talking about earlier also. Like, unlike the genie, unlike a lot of these other comic reliefs like Sebastian or Lumiere in the classic Disney Renaissance movies, Olaf does not yell out a lot of his jokes. Olaf is very much a subtle delivery kind of comic relief. He's very quiet, whispering a lot of his jokes. And I really appreciate the performance Josh Gad gives here, because once you get to the sequel, Josh Gad turns into very much the classic Disney Renaissance comic relief. That's for sure. The cat wanted to come out. It's okay.
Towards you with his hand on you.
He wants out. And a magic cat reappears. There you go. But
this is my roommate's cat.
Of course. And there he goes. What did you think? Where's he going? What did you think of Olaf?
I love Olaf. I actually have a giant Olaf stuffed animal that's probably like 2 feet tall. But I love him. And he's one of my favorite characters. I would always quote him all of the time. Especially when people were knocking, I'd be like, knock. Just knock. Why isn't she knocking? Do you think she knows how to knock? And then she knocks. It was my favorite thing to do when people would stand at the door like that. Or just me telling myself, because I don't like to knock on doors.
Because every time he says the line about warm hugs,
Hi, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
I always think of my pal Dane. If you're watching this, buddy, I miss you. But yeah, Olaf, one of my favorite Disney comic reliefs for sure. Frozen, honestly, it's just a great classic Disney movie. It's a great return to form for Disney, I think, because they were in a good, like, I don't want to say like a big downfall or a big pitfall in the 2000s going into the 2010s, but Frozen is really the movie that put them over the edge, and it's really the movie that turned them, like, I don't want to say it's the movie that turned them into the juggernaut that they stand as right now financially, but this movie made them a lot of money, though. To be fair,
it was so big that a lot of people wanted a second one, but obviously it took them years to make that, and people still want a third just because they know that Frozen will bring in revenue because it is such a big show, and people also like all the controversy around Elsa not finding a man. Wow.
Honestly, can I address that real quick? Elsa's whole arc does not require her to have a romantic interest. Her whole arc is basically being accepted back into Arendelle. It's basically being open about her powers and being open about who she actually is and not having to contain who she really is deep down. It does not require a romantic interest. So please get off of Elsa's back.
Unless you want to make her lesbian, then I am fine with that.
Yeah, and I feel like Frozen 2, again, not to get too deep into that, but they were teasing that a little bit.
The WikiHow page where people write, like the Disney Wiki page, I forget her name, but the person she interacts with in Frozen 2, they wrote interest, Elsa.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the trajectory they want to go down, I'm not opposed to that either.
I'm not opposed to it. I don't think they should do it. Because I think it would mess up too much of what Elsa stands for and stuff.
Again, that's not what Elsa's story has been all about either. It's been all about making sure that she is truly honest and open with her people about who she is. No, but honestly, this is just a damn good Disney movie. I mean, there's times where it kind of teeters in and out of my top 10 just because there's so many other great Disney movies that are out there. I don't think it's... I wouldn't say it's in my top 3. I'd probably say it's in your top 3, though.
I don't know. I am like the worst person to ask that. No matter how big of a Disney fan I am, that makes it worse because I don't like deciding on top few movies. You have to give me a reason for my top 3. Is it comfort movies? Is it animated? Is it princess? Is it because it's the older films? Because it's nostalgic? Is it not a princess film? There's so many categories. I can't put it into top 3.
And honestly, I feel like it has one of the most unique and beautiful endings to a Disney movie also.
I like how it gets quiet because it has the whole like music, but then it kind of just quiets it down and that kind of makes you feel like how Elsa feels.
Yeah.
At least me. And I just think it's a really beautiful ending along with the beautiful animation, specifically when Elsa is first using her powers on the mountain. Just after, it's so pretty. After she makes Olaf, she does the 2 let it goes. And it spirals and it looks like you're in the camera. Like it looks like it's in your face and you are watching it. It is beautiful.
I really wish I saw this movie in 3D or IMAX when it came out because I feel like that would have been an awesome experience. Yeah. If it is showing in 3D or IMAX for like the Disney 100 celebration, for the 10th anniversary celebration of Frozen, I highly recommend you check it out on the big screen or the sing-along edition if you want to have fun. If you want to have fun like Lindsey does every time she watches this, then do the sing-along.
Yeah. I forgot how much I enjoyed this movie too. I knew I enjoyed it, but because Frozen 2 had come out, and Frozen 2 is one of my current comfort movies, I watch it more than Frozen. It just kind of replaced Frozen in my comfort movie because of the topics talked about in Frozen 2 and the vibe of it. So I kind of forgot how much I loved the original. Because I like it. I know I like it. I've seen it so many times. But just watching it back today and actually watching it and not just having it to fall asleep or having background music, it was like, I forgot how much I really enjoy watching this movie.
Yeah, it is so freaking fun. Honestly, you could nitpick this movie to death. I mean, I've already said my piece about the villain reveal and how Disney kind of leaned on that, just like it did like in Big Hero 6, just like it did in Wreck-It Ralph. Like, that was just the thing with their villains. And honestly, that whole stretch of villains of Disney, like, throughout the whole early 2010s, very forgettable villains, unfortunately. But other than that, I mean, this is just a damn great movie. And I honestly could shower this movie more with praise. Lindsey will for sure spend another hour showering it with praise. But
I have no negative comments or critiques except for like, it's not even a critique, it's a mistake that you notice that you think is funny, where when Elsa puts her hair from the bun into the braid, if you watch close enough, it goes through her skin and her animated character dress human form.
Like a little glitch. Like a little glitch
but that's
in
not
there.
even something to complain about because it's so small and it's only if you really watch that part because you can't see it unless you're watching it in like slow-mo.
Well, and these are humans that are making this movie and not AI.
Exactly.
As they should be made by humans, by the way. Do not resort to AI, Disney. Do not do that.
There's a difference between using animation styles and animation, like digital animation stuff, versus using an AI.
Yeah.
They are different things.
If you had to give this movie a grade, what would you give it?
An A, and probably an A+ because of all the little features in it. For example, if you have not seen this, go back and watch it. When Anna first comes out of the castle during for the first time in forever, right as she opens the gates, or as the gates are open, on the left hand of the screen from your viewer point is Rapunzel and Eugene. And tonight was the first time I ever saw it because I have seen it, tried to watch it, and I just haven't noticed it, and now I finally noticed it today, and I'm so happy.
It's like they're pulling a Robin Hood, recycling character designs and putting it in. Yeah.
They're cousins. It's a whole thing. They are cousins, I'm pretty sure.
Wild.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm going to go ahead and give Frozen an A as well. I do have my personal nitpicks with it, but it's still a damn fine Disney movie. It's a great cinematic achievement for them. And if you haven't seen this movie ever, first of all, what the heck are you doing here? Go check it out. And if you have seen it, definitely check it out a million more times. I know Lindsey and I will absolutely continue to watch it throughout our lives. Lindsey, again, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are on the road to 2,000 over here. Hopefully we can reach that soon. Hit that thumbs up as well. It's a great community of film lovers and entertainment lovers out here. Y'all are invited to join the party. And guys, stay tuned for more Disney reviews and all that good stuff. Lindsey will certainly be back on this channel. Next Disney review, I think Wish? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it's a big Disney release for sure. You know, celebrating 100 years as a movie they've been wanting to make for over a century now. So yeah, no, that's how they're marketing it, because it's Disney 100. So they have to put it as like, yeah, a movie a century in the making. What other anniversaries do we have coming up? I'm sure there's going to be a few going into 2024, but Lindsey will certainly be back for some of those, and I can't wait to share those with you guys when the time comes. So commence that back talk. Talk to you guys soon.